The island of Sodor is a major hub for freight all over the world. A lot of it arrives at Brenham docks, and engines like Henry or James take it across the island. Recently, the freight loads have been getting heavier and heavier. More trains had to be scheduled, and the engines like Henry had to work harder. The Fat Controller decided to buy the largest engine Sodor had seen to help with the freight work. He was long and had 10 driving wheels. He looked very strong. "This," said the Fat Controller, "is Murdoch. He is going to pull freight trains on the main line." The engines were amazed. "Oi, Murdoch," said Salty. "Welcome, Murdoch," added Harvey. "You're the biggest engine I've ever seen," said Thomas. Murdoch smiled, said hello, but he was thinking, "You're a chatty lot," and puffed away. Soon he was coupled to his first train. It was very long and heavy, just the sort of thing for Murdoch. His boiler strained, and with a loud whistle, he lumbered away. But he was a gentle giant and enjoyed peace and quiet, which was difficult to find in the harbor. It was noisy and crowded. After a long day of hard work, Murdoch was looking for a good night's rest. But the shed he chose happened to be where Bill and Ben were spending the night. They were full to the brim of questions. "What's the longest train you ever pulled?" asked Bill. "Have you ever crashed?" added Ben. "Well," replied Murdoch. But before he could finish, the twins kept asking more and more questions. Murdoch was annoyed. "Please, I would like to get some sleep. I don't need to share a shed with chatterboxes." Before Bill and Ben could reply, the yard manager came and told Murdoch's driver that he was in the wrong shed. "Your shed is down that way with 2 different engines." Murdoch was pleased to leave. And the 2 other engines turned out to be Salty and Harvey. They were pleased to see him. "Oi," said Salty. "Have you ever worked Mercy?" "I don't believe I have," replied Murdoch. "I did once. Let me tell you a story." "No thanks," said Murdoch. "I'm very tired and would like to get some sleep, thank you." Well, maybe another day." The next day, Murdoch finally collected another heavy train. This time, he took it to the countryside, down the Kirk Ronan branch line. Finally, he got some peace and quiet. "Oh, this is lovely," he said. "So much more pleasant than those yellow chatterboxes or listening to one of those dockyard diesels' tall tales." But his peace and quiet, it didn't last long. His driver suddenly applied the brakes. There were sheep on the line. "They must have broken the fence," said the driver. They hopped out of Murdoch's cab, tried to chase him away. First this way, then that way, then they tried everything, but nothing had worked. The sheep were bleating loudly, and Murdoch was upset. "It's no use," said the driver. "I'll go get the phone for help." The noisy sheep were spoiling Murdoch's peace and quiet. The Fat Controller heard the news and promised to send the farmer. It took a while for him to arrive. Murdoch thought he was going insane. "Blah, blah," went the sheep. "Please stop," said Murdoch. "I'd rather be with those chatterboxes." Finally, Toby arrived. "I brought the farmer," he said. Murdoch was so relieved. "Toby! I can't tell you how relieved I am." The farmer set to work with his dog, and soon the sheep were back in the field. Murdoch then went on his way. That evening, he returned to the shed where Harvey and Salty were resting. "Oi, matey," said Salty. "You look like you've had a busy day." "We'll be quiet and let you sleep." Murdoch laughed. "No, that's all right. I'm sorry if I brushed off yesterday. Please tell me one of your stories. It will help get those sheep noises out of my head. Indeed, replied Harvey. We're pleased to have your company. Salty began to tell one of his stories, and while the sound of ba 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 would have kept him all awake, a salty story would send them happily to sleep. Murdoch still prefers peace and quiet, but now enjoys talking with the other engines, even Bill and Ben. They may talk a lot, but that means they admire Murdoch and think he is a very useful engine indeed.
Thank you.